Hey guys, this is DFD, aka Dark Frozen Deaths, back with another Kamihime project video. This is gonna, well, not going to, it already has started, but this is a reprint, and I'm doing this video just to help people know what they should and shouldn't go after on this. So this is generally going to be quick, but for those of you who did manage to get one of the previous bows, in my case I partially did. You can final break it, so you should have 2 final break weapons if you grind this out. But basically, it's win based, so my fire team can have a field day, but I've got a white team that can pretty much clear nearly anything at this point. The only thing they can't do is solo some fights, but this bow is actually pretty good, so it is worth getting it, especially if you use it in tandem with the Bether bow that you can get from her Guardian raids. So having a good combination between them. There may be other bows out there, but I might be forgetting them. But I do know that right now this bow is very good. Bethor's is pretty good too, so using them together makes a pretty decent bow grid. The other weapon is sort of. It depends on how you look at it. But it's only really if you happen to just need it, because phantom weapons still would basically be best dealt with SSR weapons, preferably if they can final break. But this one's a little bit iffy when you really look at it. But anyways, this is an advent event, so you're on your own. You're not getting help from other players, so just make sure you're strong enough. If you're not, go into epic quests. That should get you enough power to at least handle expert, because there's tons of SSR stuff you can get from it, and it's pretty quick. So you can just chuck in random stuff and be able to clear expert, period. But if you are building different grids and whatnot, then you've got 2 fire epic quests that can help you out with this one, because fire does indeed have the advantage, so there's that. But you do need to be a specific rank to start everything. For some weird reason, it says 40 or higher with a lot of these. I think that's if you want Ragnarok. The others should be earlier, as far as I know. But you want to be able to clear ultimate, preferably. But if you can't do that yet, then handle expert. If you really want to be able to do everything, you need Ragnarok, because there's some pretty good stuff you can get with the orbs from Ragnarok, including something very, very valuable later down the line, which isn't too far off as far as I know. We're getting pretty close to being able to get the next group of souls, and they're going to need a lot of stuff, including stuff from Ragnarok fights in an advent event, so yeah, you're going to be grinding a lot. As far as I know, we don't have EXP spears yet, so ignore that if it ever says it on the screen. I'm hoping we do eventually, because it is going to be less inventory space it takes up. Enemies all have the standard 10 defense, so you don't have to worry about anything being too resistant to your damage. Just debuff it and go. If you're using debuffs, of course. But Kyuki herself, she can be a little bit tricky if you're not able to just outright kill her, because she can buff her own attack power, and she can also cause paralysis, so you have to be very careful of that. She will cause poison, but that's not as bad as the paralysis, basically. But she will hit you a lot of times in her raging mode with her special move there, so if you're getting nuked by her overdrive and raging, then you may want a little bit of defensive measures, but quite frankly, that paralysis is going to be your biggest issue. So honestly, the soul to go to probably wouldn't be Andromeda, it would be Cassiopeia if you're going to go that route, because Cassiopeia can remove the attack up off her, and on top of that, you can put Vivian's ability on Cassiopeia, so you can get rid of the paralysis, provided that she's not hit with it. Or that poison's not in the way either. But Mordra can help, because she can give you some resistance towards getting debuffed, and lower Kyuki's resistance towards it too. And if you need to tank the hits, Joan is a good soul for that too. But other than that, it's not too difficult. just try to knock her down before she really gets anything off too much. Because, granted, you don't want her buffering her own attack power, but raging is more dangerous because she can make people just outright not have a turn. Plus, if you're unlucky, a lot of those hits are going to hit the same person, and you'll see them get killed. I see that a lot in some of the harder fights in the game. It's not a fun time. Granted, I shouldn't have any trouble with this, but other players might. That's one of the most annoying aspects about random hits. It can still power up on one person, so if you're unlucky, you'll see that happen. That said, I would suggest actually having some debuff towards her attack power if you can't take out the fight very quickly, because you definitely want to lower the damage you're taking, and possibly have some form of damage cut if you don't use Joan, but if you do use her, then you got the damage cut covered, so there you go. And she'll come with an attack down. But, anyways, Kyuki herself is an Adon. It depends on how things go, because, first off, she's not win attribute attack, I don't believe. I think she's win character attack. So, she should be, assault. That's not really what you want her for. There's two reasons why you may or may not want her. One is her summon effect, which, if you use her as a summon effect, she'll increase your lightning resistance. Now, granted, there's a lot of fights you probably won't need her for, but I can think of one that immediately comes to mind, and that's Fall. Doing that Guardian fight is annoying, especially with the first Rage mode. So, having some Thunder resistance to summon in could actually help for that type of stuff. The main reason why anybody might stock up on her is because she's one of the rare Idolans that has a burst streak increase, and when you use more than one burst, that last hit is called the burst streak. This increases the damage of it, and there's not too many in the game for that. Now, those with very, very powerful grids, where they're hitting a lot of different soft caps and whatnot, might actually start looking into burst streak. So, it may be worth keeping her, for that reason. Me personally, I want some more wind Idolans, so I'll probably end up keeping her, but, basically, those are the two reasons why you probably do want to keep her. And her attack power isn't all that bad. It's just shy of 2,000. So you might as well just say it is 2,000. Especially if you get plus 99 on her, it's going to go a good number past it. Also, going into Adolans as well, I don't know how often I've said this before, but when you get the same element as your Kamihime and your soul, that Adon will give a 10% increase. So what that means is, like, for convenience sake, I'm going to round up Kyuki's attack power and her HP. But she has roughly 550 HP, and she has roughly 2,000 attack. She's off by a little bit, but still. Using her on anybody else would give those numbers, but using her with wing characters would give 55 more HP and 200 more attack to them. That's what the 10% is. So even if you don't really focus on the really strong hundos in the game, element matching can still give you a good increase in base stats. So there's that. Speaking of elements, the wind bow, very, very good to go get because of the fact that you're going to want its assault and defender increase. But at the same time, it works pretty well in tandem with the Guardian Bow from Bethor raids, and be quite honest, it's the easiest of the Guardians if you ask me, so there's that. If you're somehow going for a staff grid on Wind, maybe get this weapon, because it'll give you some assault, it'll give you some both double and triple attack, so that's the only good thing about Avalanche, is giving both in one. But, other than that, it's more or less missable. It does, for some strange reason, have more attack power than the bow, even if the bow is final break limit. So, if you want raw stats, there you go too. But, it's generally harder to get than the bow, so I would say that you should probably just focus on the bow and just not worry about the staff. There's other weapons you can probably get. Going back to the Guardians, the glaive is very good to go after, so the bow and the glaive will cover your grid for the most part. But, other than that, you don't really want to focus too much on the SR weapons because there's access to other stuff that can get better effects, including epic quests, so there's that. But there's still other things to really worry about too. You need Dark Kamihime for clearing Ultimate in order to get that special mission. Other than that, it's just the usual stuff. Clear without an elixir, clear with certain rarities. You just do Expert and Ultimate with our Kamihime, you'll pretty much cover that. If they're Darkness, you'll cover Ultimate as element thing as well, so there you go. But other than that, you can get stuff like you can pretty much get stuff like books, and I suggest you probably should try to work your way towards them after you get the other stuff, of course. You can get gacha tickets, you can get like this list is different because it eventually becomes a repeatable raid. I mean, not raid, a repeatable advent event, because later down the line some of them stick around, I guess. But the list that's not shown here, you can get gacha tickets, you can get magic jewels, you can get soul points, you can get books, you can get the weapons. That said too, I don't get why they don't let these final break the second weapons, but it's whatever. But yeah, the bow is the main reason why anybody's grinding this event. The bow is actually pretty good to use, so you do want to get your hands on that. Kyuki herself, you may or may not need her now, but depending on how strong your win characters get later down the line, you just might, so keep that in mind. Because remember, when you're hitting all your soft caps, then your damage is going to get very limited, because hitting a soft cap means that you've pretty much hit the point where damage is fully calculated in. Anything past the soft cap is reduced by 90%. That means, say you have a soft cap of 2 million, because that's what the bursts are. Well, that's what the bursts are if you get enough exceed. But say there's a soft cap of 2 million, then if you did 3 million damage, it really only reads as 2,100,000. Because the extra million past that 2 million has gotten its damage cut. That's pretty much what soft caps will do, and it's annoying when you hit that point, but at the same time, it's not too much you can do. So, when you start hitting a lot of soft caps, Kyuki will probably come in handy, because as far as it's known, Burst Streak does not really have a soft cap, but you don't really have too much else to look for unless you're able to increase that soft caps. But, anyways, that's all for this. More of this is going to come soon. I highly doubt I'm going to do any videos of me playing this event, because it's more or less becoming to the same stuff as you've seen before, where I just obliterate the event with my Solomon team and call it a day. But, what should be on its way at some point when I get around to recording it is definitely the stuff for doing the raids, because we've just recently gotten the Water Guardian, and she is taking prisoners already. Not only that, some people are doing some other raids pretty wrong too, and I would like to have a video out there to spread that info a bit more, especially since more or less haven't really confirmed it, but apparently a lot of the stronger players have left for a multitude of reasons. Some got banned, some just said screw the game because they don't feel like it's worth it anymore. It's a lot of different stuff, so that's not to say the game is shutting down, because it could still be doing pretty good for all we know. But what I am saying is this: a lot of the stronger players have, like, not even a lot, a noticeable number of the stronger players have disappeared. So that said, things may or may not seem harder in content where you can have other players help you out. So, or even rank content for that matter too, because I've gotten some very good ranks on the recent guild competition, and I'm amazed at that actually. But because of that, the general overall power has shifted. So, that said, you definitely do want to build up your teams as much as you possibly can, because when the higher ones are gone, that means anybody below them has now moved up in pretty much a power ranking, if you want to call it that. So that said, they're going to have to pick up the slack, and some people have been doing things completely wrong in some of these raids, or even some events too, because I've seen them get obliterated a few times too. But other than that, there's not too much you can really do except for trying to cover your own bases, try to build up your stuff and whatnot. That's all you really can do. But anyways, like I said, going to do the video for the raid events at some point, because that's something that definitely needs to be looked at, because some of them are objective on how you can go about it, but there's still a general strategy to each one. So that's to put that out there. It will help players be better at grinding things and whatnot. It will even give you some raid etiquette if need be, because there's still that too. You don't want to screw up the raid for everybody else and just ruin everybody's chances, because a failed raid means nobody gets anything. So why try to sabotage other players? But that's all I got to say about that. Like I said, more is going to come soon. But that's it for now. Take care.